What if this moment is the sign you've been waiting for? If you are listening to these words, something inside you brought you here, and the truth is that not everyone will recognize what is about to be revealed. Now, before we continue, let's activate this divine connection. Take a deep breath and imagine for a moment a quiet place, illuminated by a warm light that seems to envelop you. That place is not far away. It's inside you. Stay until the end, because in a few minutes you will understand why the number 1111 appears again and again in the lives of those who are entering a new level of consciousness. But there's something you should know first. There is a reason why some people begin to see signs when their life is about to change. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. And it's not something everyone is prepared to understand either. Because 1111 is not just a number, it's a scoreboard, an opening point, a silent reminder that something bigger is moving behind the scenes of your life. But here's the mystery that many ignore. The true meaning of this code is only revealed when the person stops looking outside for what was always forming inside. And before explaining how that code works, you need to understand something about your own history. For a long time, you may have felt like you were walking without clear answers, moments of waiting, stages in which it seemed that nothing was progressing, days where the silence seemed stronger than any signal. And if that has happened to you, you are not alone, because there are people who have waited longer than others can imagine. People who have gone through periods where it seemed that life stopped. But what seemed like waiting was divine training. While the world continued its accelerated pace, something inside you was being patiently prepared, molded in silence, tuned like an instrument that had not yet been played out. Many interpret the silences of life as abandonment, but in reality, silences are often invisible processes, moments where what is unseen is taking shape. It is like a seed buried underground. From the outside, it looks still. It appears motionless, but beneath the surface, something extraordinary is happening. Roots that begin to spread, energy that begins to concentrate, life preparing to emerge. And 1111 often appears just when that internal process is reaching its opening point. It's as if the universe or divine wisdom gently touches your consciousness to remind you of something, that the time for searching abroad is coming to an end, because true access was never a place. It was always a state of consciousness. That's why so many people describe the experience of watching 1111 as a strange moment of recognition. A pause, a moment where something inside says, there's something more here. And that something is not noise. It's not superstition. It's simply an invitation to pause for a moment amidst the rhythm of the world. Listen to be observed, to acknowledge that there are processes that cannot be accelerated. They can only mature. Because when an interior door is ready to open, the signs are beginning to appear. And 1111 becomes a kind of silent bell, reminder, a code that many people see during periods of transition, moments where old stages end, and new understandings begin to emerge. But here's something that very few people understand. The signal is not the end, it's the beginning. It is simply confirmation that the path that seemed uncertain was leading to exactly the right place. That's why some people are starting to notice something curious. After seeing these signs, perspectives change, priorities change, even the questions change. Because when a person begins to recognize their own inner heritage, stop chasing external answers, start cultivating inner clarity, start walking with a different kind of calm. not because everything is perfect, but because something inside her knows that she is no longer lost. And in the next part of this message, you will understand why the number 1111 has been considered for centuries as a symbol of spiritual openness, and how many people discover right after recognizing this sign that a new stage begins to unfold in their lives in unexpected ways. But there is an important detail, an inner step that makes all the difference between those who simply see the number and those who truly activate the meaning it holds. And that step begins with a very simple decision, a silent decision, which we will explore now. Now listen to this carefully. There is a profound difference between noticing a signal and responding to it. Many people look at the clock, see 11:11, smile for a moment, and continue with their day as if nothing had happened. But other people feel differently. A small inner silence, a pause, that is if for a second the noise of the world receded, and only one clear feeling remained. Something is beginning to align. It's not a spectacular event. It's not thunder in the sky. It's more like a fine-tuning within the soul. And that adjustment happens when a person begins to recognize that their life has not been a succession of coincidences, but a history guided by invisible processes. For years, you may have walked around without understanding why certain doors were closing, why some relationships drifted apart, why some opportunities simply didn't hold up. At the time it seemed like frustration. She seemed lost. It seemed like confusion. But when you look back calmly, you often discover something unexpected. Those closed doors prevented paths that were not aligned with you. Now those silences pushed you to seek a deeper truth. Those detours led you exactly to the place where you are listening to this message today. Because there are moments in life when your personal story begins to reorganize itself like pieces of a puzzle that finally begin to fit together. And it is at those moments that certain people begin to notice patterns, that soft signals, silent reminders. 1111 is one of those reminders, not like a magic promise, but as a symbol of inner alignment. A moment where time seems to stop so that you remember something essential, that your life has direction, that even the difficult paths were part of your preparation. Because what seemed like silence was work you didn't see. The stages where you felt like nothing was moving were shaping your perception. They were teaching you patience, discernment, and a deeper way to listen to your inner voice. Now, imagine this for a moment. Breathe slowly again, and visualize the door in front of you. Why? Oyo, a simple door, illuminated by a soft light. There's no rush. There is no pressure. Presence only. That door represents a new level of clarity in your life. It doesn't mean that everything will change overnight. It means something much more powerful. That the way you walk through the world begins to transform. You begin to recognize what really matters. You begin to feel peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. You begin to notice opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. That is what many spiritual traditions call an awakening of consciousness. It's not a dramatic explosion. It's a quiet expansion, a growing sense of purpose. And when that expansion begins, the person stops reacting to every circumstance, begin to respond from a deeper wisdom. That's why some people say that 1111 works as a small daily reminder. a kind of inner bell that says, remember who you are. Remember what you have learned. Remember that the journey continues. Because when a person remembers the spiritual heritage, something changes in his attitude towards life. He no longer needs to prove anything to the world. It no longer runs after every external validation. Walk with quiet certainty that with serene faith and with a confidence that does not depend on the circumstances of the moment. Now, I want to invite you to do something very simple. If these words resonated with you, write a short sentence in the comments. A phrase that serves as a seal for this moment. Writes, I accept it today, not as an obligation, but as a conscious declaration. One way of saying you're willing to walk with greater clarity and recognize the signs that appear along your path. Many people within this community perform this small act of writing because it transforms the moment into something deeper. It's not just about listening to a message. It's about participating in it. It's affirming that your story continues to move forward with purpose. And while you write that sentence, remember something important. This space has become a meeting point for people seeking spiritual growth, inner peace, and direction. People who want to move forward with faith, but also with wisdom. If you feel that these types of messages help you keep your mind focused and your spirit strong, you can subscribe and stay connected to this community. Because here we continue exploring these signs and teachings that have accompanied those who seek a meaningful life. And in the final part of this message, we're going to do something special. Brief prayer and inner decree. A moment of silence and affirmation that can help you integrate everything you have just heard. Because understanding a message is important dots, but integrating it is what truly transforms the way you walk through the world. Take one more breath, because what follows can become a new starting point for your story. Take one more deep breath. Allow the air to enter slowly and release any tension you've been carrying. Sometimes life's most important moments don't come with noise. They arrive with silent clarity, and that kind of clarity appears when a person decides to stop, even if only for a few minutes, to listen to what their heart has been trying to tell them for a long time. That's why I'm inviting you to do something very simple. Close your eyes for a moment. If you can, imagine again that peaceful scene you visualized earlier. A spacious place that's serene, that illuminated by a warm light that doesn't hurt the eyes, but fills everything with calm. That place represents the inner space where true transformation begins. It is not an external place. It is the center of your consciousness. Now imagine that door appears in front of you again. The same door as before. But this time you notice something different. It's completely open. There is no lock. There are no barrier. Only one illuminated path that stretches forward. This symbol appears in many spiritual traditions because it represents a specific moment in a person's life. The moment when you stop looking outside for what was always growing. Inside, for a long time, you may have thought that you needed to find something special to feel. Direction, a perfect signal, a definitive answer. But the truth is that the deepest direction always arises when a person begins to trust the process they have experienced, even in difficult times, even in the silences. Because every experience, even the most complex, leaves a lesson. And when those teachings are integrated, they form something very valuable. That wisdom does not appear suddenly. It is being built at, it is cultivated. It grows stronger with each stage of life. That's why many people who go through a spiritual awakening discover something unexpected. They don't feel superior to anyone, they feel more aware, that pay more attention, more capable of recognizing what truly has value. They begin to appreciate the little moments. Hey, sunrise, a sincere conversation, a moment of silence in the middle of the day, because they understand that life is not made up of only big events. It is made of presence. And when a person cultivates that presence, their energy begins to change. Not in an exaggerated, mystical way, but in a very human way. He becomes more patient, more understanding, more firm in their values. That is the true spiritual heritage that many traditions have mentioned for centuries. It is not material wealth. It is not a position of power. It is the ability to walk through the world with an awakened consciousness, thoughts with a clearer mind, and with a heart aligned with good. That's why when the 1111 symbol appears for some people, it becomes a friendly reminder, a small whisper that says, remember the path you are building. Remember the wisdom you have. Kire. Remember that every day is an opportunity to move forward with purpose. And now we are going to transform this moment into something even deeper. Let's make a small decree of faith and clarity. It's not a complicated ritual. It is simply a conscious affirmation that you can repeat silently or in a low voice. Take a calm breath and mentally repeat these words. Today I receive clarity for my path. I trust in the process that has shaped my life. I walk with wisdom, patience, and faith. Peace guides my decisions, and every step I take brings me closer to my purpose. Allow those words to resonate within you, not like a magic formula, but as a conscious intention, because clear intentions have a special way of guiding our attention and our decisions. And when our decisions change, our lives begin to gradually transform, not by force, but by direction. Now, remember something important. Signs, symbols, and moments of reflection only have value when they become conscious actions. Small daily actions, choosing patience when it would be easier to react. Choose hope when fear tries to dominate. Choosing faith when circumstances don't yet show the whole picture. Those are the decisions that build a life with purpose. That's why this channel exists. To remind you every time you come back here that you are not walking aimlessly, that thousands of people around the world are also seeking spiritual growth to find balance and move forward with hope. If this message was with you during an important moment, you can write again in the comments, I accept it today. It's a simple way of stating that you choose to continue your journey with awareness and confidence. And if you feel that these types of messages strengthen your inner peace, I invite you to subscribe and stay connected to this community. A community of people seeking to move forward with faith, clarity, and purpose. Because sometimes all we need is a reminder, a moment of pause, a word that helps us see the path with new eyes. And remember this, before you leave, each day brings with it an opportunity to grow. Each stage has something to teach us. And when a person decides to walk with awareness, even the quietest paths begin to reveal their meaning. May peace accompany you on your journey, and may every step you take bring you closer to the purposeful life you are building.